had a coworker who was so desperate to be married that she allowed her friend to set her up with a man who ruined her entire life. Now, what happened to my coworker was not uncommon because a lot of us women, we make the same mistakes. So let's call her Sally just for the purpose of this video. She used to come into the office every day and she would complain about being single. What made matters worse, most of her friends were either getting engaged or married. So Sally started to feel left out. Sally had a friend, we'll call her Jill, and she would confide in Jill and tell her about her desire to be a wife. And she was so obsessed with having a wedding, having a hen do, she couldn't stop talking about being someone's wife. Well, after listening to Sally complain for months and months, Jill took it upon herself to set her up with a relative. Now, Jill's relative was visiting from another country, and the guy didn't seem too stable. But Sally did not mind because when she met him, he was saying all the right things. Little did she know that Jill had already prepped the guy. So when he was meeting Sally, he was meeting Sally with information that he already received from Jill. And mind you, he didn't even have to do too much because Sally was so desperate that the little he was giving her felt like a feast. Baby, he had her eating out of the palm of his hands, which is lesson number 1. Do not ever be so hungry and so desperate that you don't even recognize when you are eating garbage. This is one of the reasons why they say do not go shopping when you're hungry. You're more likely to eat junk. Sally was so desperate to be a wife, so desperate to be picked, she did not even realize that she was consuming garbage. Well, it didn't take long for wedding bells to start ringing, and everyone was shocked when we heard that Sally was getting married to Jill's relative. So people were like, okay, if you like it, we love it. They got married, and Sally moved the guy into her house. Well, it didn't take long for her to realize she was dealing with an evil entity. Now, the sad thing is, other people saw it, but Sally was too consumed with her obsession to be a wife that she completely missed all the signs. Now, by the time the guy was now her husband and he moved into her house, she was now feeling ashamed to admit that I think I've made a mistake, which is lesson number 2. Don't ever let your pride and your ego stop you from accepting the reality. Sally was too ashamed to tell people that her fairy tale was not fairy tale in, and she decided to thug it out. Now, if she had just accepted the fact that this is not working, she might have been able to annul the marriage or at least file for a divorce and gotten out before things got really bad. Instead, she wanted to keep up the facade because, again, she wanted to be a wife so bad. She had attached her worth to her marital status. So now that had become her identity, and having to accept the fact that the life that she had fantasized about was not happening, that was too tough of a pill for her to swallow. So she stayed. And eventually, the guy ruined her health, her finances, she lost her job. It was one of the worst marriages that I've ever seen. Like, the things that guy put her through was diabolical. And as co-workers, there was nothing we could do because, again, that's her husband. What made it worse was when people did try to warn her and advise her to get out, she kept thinking that no, he's going to come around. She became very delusional, and she just had this fantasy that at some point he was going to act right and things were going to become better, but they never did. So this is just a friendly reminder. Don't ever let the fear of being alone or the fear of being single make you drop your guard or make you so desperate that you open up your heart